The sky cracked open on a quiet Tuesday morning. People in every country looked up and saw the same thing. Giant glowing ships floating above the cities. No explosions, no lasers, just silence. Bright, perfect silence. At first, the world panicked. Cars crashed, news channels went crazy, governments called emergency meetings, but then every screen on Earth changed. Televisions, phones, laptops, all went black. Then a calm voice spoke. "We are the Guardians. Do not fear. We are here to protect your world." The voice was strange but peaceful, like music and wine together. The panic slowly faded. People stopped screaming. Cameras zoomed in on the ships. They were smooth, silver, and beautiful, shaped like long wings of light. No windows, no weapons, just hovering. Within days, the Guardians began to help. They ended all wars. They stopped every virus. They gave humans energy that never ran out. They made deserts green. People who were starving could now eat. The world changed overnight. Some called it a miracle. Some called it a dream. But not everyone believed it. Evan Reed was one of them. He wasn't a soldier, not a president. He was a simple scientist working in a small lab in Colorado. He watched as the world celebrated. His neighbors hung up Guardian flags. His boss joined something called the Unity Council. But Evan felt a chill inside every time. He heard the word protect. Protect us from what? He asked his colleagues. They laughed. He posted the question online. The post disappeared. He asked again. His account was banned. Strange things started to happen after that. One night, Evan found his front door unlocked. He never left it open. His laptop had a new folder he didn't create. Inside it was a single image, a blurry photo of a red planet, marked with strange symbols. He deleted it, but the next day, it came back. A week later, his friend Maria, a journalist who had also asked questions, went missing. No one mentioned her again. It was like she never existed. That's when Evan decided he needed answers. He began to dig into Guardian activity reports, hidden websites, anything that wasn't filtered. Most things were erased, redacted, blocked. But one name kept appearing. In old security footage, Project Origin, he had no idea what it meant, but it was always connected to government buildings the Guardians had secured. Evan's chance came during a science summit in Geneva. The Guardians would be there, not all of them, just the ones in human-like forms. They called themselves envoys, tall, glowing figures with eyes like stars and voices like whispers. Evan wasn't invited, but his lab partner was, and she owed him a favor. He wore a suit, borrowed a badge, and entered the United Nations Tower just before noon. The building was buzzing with excitement. World leaders smiled. News cameras flashed, but Evan didn't stop to look. He took the service elevator. To the lower levels, deep underground, was the real summit, where only high-clearance guests went. That's where Project Origin files were stored. He reached the archive room. It was guarded, but the Guardian didn't move as Evan walked past. It just stood there, still as a statue, its face unreadable. Inside the archive, cold air hit his skin. Rows of glowing shelves filled the space. He searched quickly, fingers trembling. Then he found it. Project Origin Threat Red CLS. He tapped it open. A file opened on the screen. It showed an alien species unlike anything he'd seen. Black, insect-like creatures with eyes of fire. It listed their kill count across the galaxy. Billions, entire planets. Destroyed. Then he saw the shocker target. Earth status unknown. Evan stared, frozen. Why was Earth listed? Why was the status unknown? But before he could read more, a voice whispered behind him. "You shouldn't be here, Evan." He turned. A Guardian stood there. But this one looked different. Its eyes were not calm. They burned. "Why is Earth on that list?" Evan asked Dot. The Guardian tilted its head. "You are not authorized to know." Evan stepped back. "Tell me the truth. What are you really protecting us from?" Silence then. The Guardian stepped closer. "The question has been asked." "What question?" The lights flickered. The Guardian said, "You have spoken the forbidden words. The world will change now." And then it was gone. No one saw Evan leave. He didn't run. He just walked out, heart pounding, back in his apartment. He tried to share what he saw. Every device failed. Messages didn't send. Screens glitched. He printed out the photos. They came out blank. Later that night, someone knocked on his door. He opened it, expecting police. Instead, it was a woman. Her hair was silver. Her skin glowed faintly. She was not human. "I'm not here to hurt you," she said. "I'm here because you asked the question." "Who are you?" Evan whispered. She looked up. Her eyes were sad. "My name is Kale. I am not like the others. I was once human long ago." He stepped back. "That's not possible." "It is," she said. "Because you are not the first to ask. Many have asked before you. All of them disappeared. You survived." Evan sat down, overwhelmed. "Then tell me, who are the Guardians protecting us from?" Kale took a deep breath. Her voice shook. "They are not protecting you from something outside Earth. They are protecting the galaxy from you." The room went silent. Ivan couldn't speak. Kale continued. "Your kind is not weak, not broken. You are dangerous. Your future terrifies them." Evan looked at the photo of the red class. "But they're worse than us." Kale shook her head. "No. They were created by humans in a future that was erased." Evan's hands trembled. "Then we're the enemy." "No," she said. "You're the question. And now that you've asked it, they'll come for you." The lights dimmed. Outside, a humming sound filled the air. Evan knew it wasn't over. It had just begun. The morning after Kale's visit, Evan didn't wake to birds or sunlight. He woke to silence. The power was gone. No light. No phone signal. Even the air felt heavy. He stepped outside and saw Guardian drones floating quietly above the streets, scanning everything, everyone. His neighbor, Mr. Jensen, stood in his yard watering fake flowers. His eyes looked empty, like he wasn't really there. Evan spoke, "Morning." Mr. Jensen didn't answer. He just smiled. Too wide. To still, something was wrong. Evan walked back inside and locked every door. He turned on his backup laptop, the one not connected to the network. The files from the archive were still gone. But Kale's words echoed in his mind. "You're not the enemy, you're the question." He didn't know what to believe anymore. Later that day, someone slipped a paper under his door. No name, just 2 words, The Whisperers. 9 p.m., Old Tunnel. He knew what it meant. There were rumors of a secret group that lived off-grid, people who didn't trust the Guardians. Most thought they were crazy, conspiracy nuts. But now, Evan had seen too much to laugh. At 9 p.m., he left everything behind and walked to the edge of town. The old tunnel was hidden behind broken fencing near the train yard. Inside, it was dark, wet, and cold. A small voice called out, "Name, Evan Reed," he said. Silence. Then a low door opened. A man with a short beard and glowing goggles stepped out. "Follow me." They walked deeper underground until they reached a dimly lit room filled with old tech, maps, and a giant wall covered in photos of people who had disappeared. There were hundreds of faces, Evan whispered. "Who are these people?" The man replied. "The ones who asked questions like you." A woman stepped forward. She had sharp eyes and a calm voice. "My name is Lara. We're the Whisperers. We've been watching the Guardians since the first day they arrived." Evan sat down, feeling sick. "I thought they were here to help." Lara nodded. "So did we at first, but we started noticing things. Small things. People going missing. Memories being wiped. News stories vanishing. I found something," Evan said. "A file. Project Origin. It listed Earth as a target. There was a creature. Something they called Red Class." Lara looked at the others, then back at Evan. "We've heard of it barely, but that name, Red Class, it's the same one that showed up in deep space warnings years before the Guardians arrived. The warnings stopped the day they came." Evan's heart raced. "You think they're hiding something worse than themselves?" Lara leaned closer. "No, we think they're hiding us from the truth." They showed Evan a device, old, scratched, human-made. It was a radio tuned to frequencies that normal devices didn't reach. They played a recording at first. There was static, then a voice. It was Evan's. "If you hear this, you need to remember. The Guardians aren't protecting US. They're controlling the timeline. We were never supposed to ask." Then the audio cut off. Evan stood up, confused. "That's not possible. I never recorded that." Lara replied. "That's not from now. That's from another version of you. One that lived before the last." Reset. Evan's mind spun. "Wait, reset? You're saying they've done this before?" The man with goggles spoke. "More than once." Every time humans start asking too many questions, the Guardians wipe it all time. Memory, history, they call it course correction. But some of us remember bits. We collect them, hide them, pass them down. Evan's hands were shaking. So, what happens if I keep asking? Lara looked him in the eyes. You become dangerous. That night, Evan stayed in the tunnels. He didn't trust the world above anymore. The next morning, he joined the Whisperers on a supply run. They moved quietly through abandoned buildings, stealing power cells and water dot above them. Guardian drones floated like ghosts. At one stop, a young boy named Milo ran up, holding a dusty tablet. I found something. He showed them a video clip hidden in old satellite archives. It showed Earth, not now, but in a ruined future. The skies were red, cities broken, but human ships flew in the air, not to escape, but to conquer. Evan watched as human soldiers landed on alien worlds. They weren't helping. They were. Destroying? Is this real? He asked. Lara nodded. It's one of the erased futures. In that timeline, humans didn't ask questions. They obeyed the Guardians. Then, one day, they rebelled, and they became worse than the enemy. Evan stepped back. So the Guardians are trying to stop that future. They're trying to stop every future, Lara said, even the good ones, because they don't believe in human choice. Evan sat down, overwhelmed. Then what do we do? The goggles man smiled. We find a way to break the pattern. Back in the tunnel, they gave Evan a job decoding old Guardian signals. While studying the code, Evan noticed something strange, a pattern, a pulse hidden between the data. It wasn't machine code, it was a message, written in old Earth Morse. I am trapped. I am not like them. Help me. It was signed, Kale. Evan's heart stopped. She's alive. Lara frowned. Who? She came to me, a guardian, or something like one. She told me everything. She helped me escape. Then she's in danger. Lara said, the Guardians don't forgive traitors. Evan stood up. We need to find her. That night, they used the radio to send out a signal to Kale's last known frequency. Static answered them, then a whisper. North Ice alone. Evan packed his gear. Where are you going? Lara asked. Evan looked back to find the only Guardian who remembers what it means to be human. The cold wind cut through Evan's coat as he stepped onto the frozen plains of northern Greenland. Snow whipped across the landscape like tiny knives, and the sky above was a flat, endless gray. There was no signal, no lights, no sound, except the wind. But this is where Kale's message had led him. North Ice alone, the Whisperers didn't want him to go. Lara had argued for hours. You don't even know if she's alive, she said. This could be a trap. Evan had only one answer. She's the only one who told me the truth. And now he was here standing near a broken metal structure, half buried in the snow. It looked like a small research base, long forgotten by the world. He stepped inside. The door creaked. Ice covered the walls. Dust floated in the air like frozen mist. Then he saw her. Kale sat on the floor, her back against the wall, her body flickering like a hologram fading in and out. Her silver skin looked cracked, her eyes dim. Evan, she said softly. You're alive, he breathed. Barely, she replied. They found me. I ran, but I can't hold this form much longer. He rushed to her. I came to get you out. Kale shook her head. It's too late for me, but not for you. She handed him a small cube, glowing with a faint blue light. This is what they've hidden from you. The real reason the Guardians came. Inside is the origin file. Timelines, all the resets. The truth. Evan stared at it. Why me? Kale smiled. Because you asked the question, and you're still asking. Suddenly, her body flickered violently. Alarms in the base lit up red. They've found me, she said. You have to run. I'm not leaving without you. Kale looked into his eyes. You already have. The version of me you knew died weeks ago. This is just an echo, a leftover soul. And with that, her body turned to light, scattering like dust in the wind. The cube pulsed in his hand. Outside, the snowstorm turned violent, but Evan ran. He didn't stop. Not even when the sky above cracked open and a guardianship appeared, silent and watching. By the time he returned to the Whisperer's tunnels, he was weak, frozen, and nearly unconscious. Lara pulled him in. What happened? She's gone, Evan whispered. But I have this. He placed the cube on the table. The others gathered around. The cube scanned the air, then projected a glowing map, a web of timelines, futures, deaths, resets. This real? Milo asked. Evan nodded. This is everything they erased. They watched the projections play. Earth was destroyed. Earth was saved. Earth became a monster. Earth became a savior. Hundreds of timelines, all ending in war or silence. And in every one, the Guardians interfered. They've been shaping our future, Laura said quietly. Every time we choose something they don't like, they reset it. But why? The man with goggles asked. The cube pulsed again, and a voice played. Not Kale's, not Evan's. It was a Guardian voice. We exist to preserve the peace of the stars. The human species, if left unchecked, will destroy that peace. Their minds evolve too quickly. Their desire to question cannot be controlled. We do not hate them, we fear them. Evan stood up. They don't want peace, they want silence. That night, the Whisperers argued. Some believed they should use the cube to warn the world. Others feared it would cause panic or worse, trigger another reset. Evan said nothing. He sat alone, staring at Kale's cube. Then a thought struck him. What if there was a way to send a message so strong that it couldn't be erased? He stood up. I'm going to the archive tower, he said. Laura turned. That place is suicide. Maybe, Evan said. But it's the only place where I can reach the whole world without a Guardian filter. The archive tower was located in the heart of Geneva, inside Guardian-controlled space. It broadcast news, updates, and global announcements. Everything passed through it. If he could get in, he could show everyone the file. The Whisperers built him a fake ID chip. The goggles man gave him a jammer to block Guardian scans for 2 minutes. You'll only have one shot, he warned. Evan nodded. That's enough. He wore a plain black suit and joined a group of diplomats entering the tower for a unity speech. He passed security, he passed the drones, he made it to the control floor, and then he ran. He sprinted into the broadcast room, locked the door, and slammed the cube into the main terminal. The screens turned blue. Guardian code, clashed with human systems. Sparks flew. Then, silence, and then the world saw it. Billions of people in homes, cities, streets looked up and saw a message appear on every screen. You've been lied to. Then came the voices, the erased timelines, the video of Evan's future self, warning humanity the truth about the resets, the truth about Earth's potential, and then the Guardians reacted. Sirens screamed, the walls trembled. Ships above the tower moved into attack position. Inside the room, a Guardian appeared in front of Evan. It didn't speak. Its eyes glowed red. But Evan didn't stop. He looked into the camera and said, "We were never the enemy. We were the question. And now, we demand an answer." The feed cut off, the tower exploded in light, Evan vanished. The world changed in the days that followed. Guardian ships left Earth. Some disappeared, others hovered in silence, unsure. People protested, others prayed. Some broke down, but one thing was clear: the truth was out, and deep underground. The Whisperers continued the fight. Laura played the last recording from Evan's cube. His voice was calm. If you're hearing this, I may be gone, but the question lives on. Keep asking, keep watching, and when they come again, don't be afraid to say no. Somewhere far away, in the dark of space, another species heard Earth's broadcast. And they smiled, because someone had finally broken the silence. The world had changed, but not in the way Evan had hoped. After his final broadcast from the archive tower, the skies over Earth remained still. Guardian ships didn't attack. They didn't speak. They simply hovered in silence like massive watchers, waiting to decide something. Governments panicked. Some tried to calm the public. Others denied the truth. But the people had seen it. The timelines, the resets, the lies, and more people were waking up in the Whisperers' underground base. Laura sat near the projector, playing Evan's last message again. His voice echoed through the room. We were never the enemy. We were the question, and now we demand an answer. Beside her, Milo sat quietly, watching the blue light flicker on the walls. He's really gone, isn't he? Milo whispered. Lara nodded, yes, but he gave us something they can't erase anymore. The cube, now black and silent, sat on the table. It had done its job. It broke the silence, but Laura wasn't ready to stop. She turned to the others. Evan proved we could stand up to them, but this fight is just beginning. If they won't speak, we'll make them listen. A voice came from the shadows, and, what if they answer with war? Everyone turned. It was Kaledot, but not exactly. She looked weaker, more faded than before. Her skin flickered like static. Her eyes, once full of light, now dimmed. This was only a fragment of her, a digital remnant hidden inside the cube. I left a backup of myself in case Evan failed, she said. But he didn't. He changed everything. Laura stepped forward. Then help us. Tell us what's coming next. Kale looked up. The Guardians are not just one species. They are a network, millions of minds, all connected. They do not think in fear or anger. They think in patterns. If a pattern breaks too many times, they destroy the source. Milo asked, "What does that mean for Earth?" Kale's voice lowered. "It means we are close to the edge. One more disruption, and they may choose to wipe the slate." Lara stood tall. "Then we give them one. But on our terms." She opened a map on the wall, showing a location in Africa, deep in the desert. "This is the Unity Nexus," she said. "The Guardian's main command center on Earth. Every signal passes through there. If we take it, we control what they see." The others looked uneasy. "That's suicide," one whispered, but Laura's voice was clear. "We don't need to win. We just need to make them react. We need to prove one thing, that humans can't be controlled anymore." Kale nodded. "There's one Guardian inside the Nexus who might listen. His name is Solon. He once questioned the resets. They punished him by placing him on Earth. Can he be trusted?" Laura asked. Kale paused. "No, but he may be the only one who understands what Evan died for." By nightfall, the Whisperers were on the move. Laura led a small team across deserts and ruins, through zones where Guardian drones had cleared everything for order. Cities were gone. Forests turned to smooth glass. It was like someone had wiped the land clean of mistakes. They reached the Nexus by sunrise. It was a giant black pyramid, floating just above the sand, humming with soft blue light. No gates, no doors, just silence. Lara stepped forward and spoke. "Clearly, I want to speak to Solon. I am Lara of Earth. I know the truth." At first, nothing happened. Then the light changed. A path opened in the sand, revealing a stairway leading downward into the ground. Lara turned to the others. "Stay. Here I go alone." Inside, the walls pulsed with soft energy. The air felt heavy, like time itself was slower, and then she saw him. Solon stood in the center of a large round chamber. He looked human, but too perfect. Smooth skin, eyes that glowed gently, no expression. "You asked for me," he said. Lara didn't bow. She didn't flinch. "You've seen the broadcasts," she said. "You know Evan told the truth." Solon blinked once. "Yes, I remember the forbidden file." "Then why are you still silent?" she demanded. Solen looked upward. "Because the network is watching, and I am not allowed to think freely." Lara stepped closer. "Then think with me, for just one moment, as a being, not a tool." Solon was silent, then he spoke. "There was a time, long ago, when I believed humans had potential. Before the resets, before the fear. What changed you did," he said softly. "Where people evolved faster than we expected. You didn't just build, you questioned. You imagined futures we could not control." Lara's voice trembled. "Then why not help us grow instead of caging us?" Solon turned. "Because every time we tried, it ended in fire." He lifted a hand, and the room changed. Images filled the air, cities burning, stars dying. Earth turned into a weapon. "These are your futures," he said, and they all began with a single question. "Why not more?" Lara stared at the images, and none of them ended in peace. "One," Solon said. A small image floated up. Earth, peaceful, green, united. Lara stepped closer. "What made that future work?" Solon's face darkened. "It was erased." "Why?" "Because humans had no memory. They lived in ignorance. The network found it unnatural." Lara whispered. "So even peace isn't good enough if it's not controlled." Solon said nothing. Then she asked, "Do you believe in choice?" Solon. His voice broke. "I used to." "Then help us." "Not the network. Us." Solon stepped back. The walls shook. "I cannot disobey, but I can delay." A pulse of light flowed from his body. Outside, Guardian ships turned slowly in the sky, confused, stalled. Solon looked at Lara one last time. "You have 5 minutes. Whatever you do, make it count." Then he vanished. Lara ran back up the stairs, shouting, "Now, send the signal." The Whisperers activated their beacon, a shortwave message that pulsed through Guardian channels. A simple phrase, "We choose freedom." The ground trembled above. Some Guardian ships lit red, others dimmed. The sky split open, as if something bigger than the Guardians was waking up. The Nexus began to collapse. Lara shouted, "Fall back! Go!" They ran into the desert as the Black Pyramid cracked and sank beneath the sand. The Whisperers had done it. They had forced the Guardians to pause back in their underground base. Kale's last spark was fading, but her smile was warm. "You've done more than Evan ever dreamed," she said. Lara whispered, "We're not finished yet." Kale nodded slowly. "Then go further. Ask louder. Make them see. Because the moment they realize humans can think beyond fear, they will have to decide whether to destroy you or join you." Her light faded completely. Outside, the stars pulsed with strange light, and far above the earth, a Guardian signal echoed across the galaxy. The humans are no longer predictable. We must decide soon. The sun was setting behind the desert ruins. Orange light painted the cracked stones, and the wind carried the last bits of sand over the half-buried remains of the Guardian Nexus. Lara stood silently at the edge, staring at where the Black Pyramid had once floated. Solon was gone. Kale's echo was gone. But something else had begun. Since the Whisperers' message, "We choose freedom," Guardian ships had moved into strange patterns. Some powered down completely. Others hovered, watching. The skies were no longer calm. They were waiting. Back in the underground base, tension was rising. "What if they strike back?" Milo asked. "They haven't yet," Lara replied. "They're hesitating." "They never hesitate," said the man with goggles. "That's what scares me." Everyone had the same feeling. The Guardians weren't reacting like machines anymore. Something had changed. That night, while others slept, Lara went to the far chamber, a cold room with metal walls and a cracked ceiling. This was where Kale's data had once lived. Now, only silence remained. But Lara wasn't alone. A figure stepped out of the dark, tall, thin, almost human, but not quite. His voice was calm. "You've come far, Lara." She didn't move. "Who are you?" "I was called Eros once. Long before I became what I am." Her breath caught in her chest. "You're a Guardian." He nodded. "Not anymore. I broke from the network. Long ago. Why? Because I saw what Evan saw, what you now carry. The problem isn't humanity. The problem is fear." She stepped closer. "Whose fear?" "Ours," Eros said. "The fear that humans will become something we cannot control. The fear that your kind will not only survive, but lead." Lara narrowed her eyes. "Then why do they still control us?" "Because they believe order is better than risk." "But the network is not perfect. There is a conflict inside. A war of thought, you're saying?" "Some Guardians want to help us." "Yes," Eros said, "but others want to erase Earth forever." Lara swallowed hard. "Then what do we do?" Eros opened his hand. A small crystal appeared, glowing red. "This contains something you must see. The origin." She took it slowly. "What is it?" "The beginning of the resets. The first timeline. The moment the Guardians made their decision to fear you." That night, the Whisperers gathered in silence. Lara placed the red crystal into the projector. The room darkened, and the past began. They saw Earth hundreds of years ago, full of war, disease, fire. But one city shined like hope, New Eden, a place where humans and aliens worked together. Peacefully. Then came the incident. A human scientist named Dr. Malin discovered a way to tap into thought itself to create machines that could shape time based on emotion. The technology was powerful. Too powerful. One test went wrong. A city vanished. A Guardian envoy came to Earth. begging humans to stop, but Dr. Malin refused. "We are done being passengers," he said. "We will shape the universe ourselves." And in that moment, the decision was made. The Guardians reset the timeline. Over and over, each time they tried to change the outcome. Each time, the spark returned. The desire to question, to grow, to become more. "They weren't trying to save us," Lara whispered. "They were trying to stop us from becoming ourselves." Eros stepped forward. "Now the network is split. Some want to talk, others want to wipe Earth clean." One final reset. "What triggers it?" Milo asked. Eros answered, "A single act of human rebellion, a choice they cannot predict." Everyone turned to Lara. She knew what it meant. The next move had to be bold, something impossible to ignore, something the Guardians couldn't control or erase. She stood slowly. "We need to speak to the galaxy." The goggles man blinked. "How?" "There's a tower," she said. "One the Guardians don't use anymore, built long before their arrival. It broadcasts in all directions to all known civilizations." He frowned. "It was shut down years ago." "Then we turn it back on," Milo grinned. "Now you're starting to sound like Evan." They traveled at night, moving through ruined highways and abandoned tunnels. The old Galactic broadcast station was hidden inside a mountain in South Asia. It was tall, ancient, wrapped in vines and cracked metal. Inside, it smelled like dust and rust, but the core still worked. Lara stepped to the console. "I'm not sending a warning," she said. "I'm sending an invitation to every world that hears us. To anyone watching Earth." Milo nodded. "Let them see we're not afraid." The broadcast light turned green. Lara spoke clearly. "To all who can hear us, we are the humans of Earth. We've been silenced, controlled, reset, but not anymore. We are awake, and we are not your enemy." She paused. "We are the spark." Then she ended the transmission and waited. The response came within. Minutes, the skies lit up, but it wasn't Guardians, it was something else. Unknown ships entered Earth's orbit, not to invade, but to observe, silent, curious. The Guardians moved instantly, activating their defense systems, ready to strike. But they didn't because, for the first time, Earth had company. Lara smiled. "They can't erase us now. The whole galaxy is watching." But deep in space, a final message came through the network. "The humans have broken the isolation. The experiment is over. Prepare for judgment." The sky was no longer quiet. Above Earth, alien ships hovered in silence. They were not Guardians. They came from distant worlds, drawn by Lara's message. Some looked like glowing shells, others like dark webs stretching across the stars. One fired a shot. Not yet. Inside the mountain broadcast tower, Lara watched the screens as the Guardian fleet circled slowly above. They weren't attacking. They were waiting. "Why aren't they doing anything?" Milo asked, standing beside her. "They didn't expect the galaxy to hear us," Lara said. "They've controlled Earth for too long, controlled the story. Now the story is out." The goggles man frowned. "I don't trust the silence. They're calculating." Then the power cut. The screens died. The lights faded. The floor began to hum dot from the center of the room. A shape formed glowing blue and tall. A Guardian. But not just any Guardian. This one was different. It wore no mask, no cloak. Its skin shimmered with silver lines that pulsed like veins. Its voice echoed softly, like thunder trapped in water. "You have broken the rules of your design," it said. "You have spoken beyond your world." Lara stepped forward. "We spoke because we were never asked, never told. You controlled everything." The Guardian didn't move. "Humanity was given peace," it said. "You answered with chaos. We answered with truth. You were not meant to ask." Lara narrowed her eyes. "Then you never wanted peace. You wanted obedience." For a long moment, the Guardian said nothing. Then it raised its hand. The walls of the tower flickered, and a projection filled the space. A future, Earth 1, the Guardians had erased. It was beautiful, glowing cities, humans working beside other species, technology that sang like music. There were no armies, no war. Then the scene changed. The same cities, burning humans, commanding ships of war, other planets, turned to dust. A cold voice filled the air. This is what you become. Lara watched, eyes wide. What is this? The Guardian turned to her. The timeline you just saw was the most peaceful one. It lasted 50 years, then it fell. Because your people cannot stop reaching. Milo whispered, so that's why they reset us. The Guardian nodded. Not erased because of who you are. You were erased because of who you become. Lara's voice trembled. That's not fair. Fairness is not survival. Then why not destroy us? She asked. The Guardian stared at her. Because part of us still believes. In your potential. In your soul. Then let us try. We did it, replied, 723 times. Lara stepped back. 700. Milo's mouth dropped. They've reset the world over 700 times. The Guardian looked at the sky. Each time you reached further, each time you broke faster. Lara clenched her fists. Then, stop resetting. Let us learn from our mistakes. The Guardian was silent. Then it said, not all of us agree, and it vanished. Back in the tunnels, the Whisperers gathered. The room was filled with worry. The message had gone out, but now, judgment was coming. They're going to vote, said the goggles man. The network. Some want to give us a chance. Some want to end us. What do we do? Milo asked. Lara stood tall. We prove we're worth the risk. How? She turned to a machine in the corner. An old simulation pod built during the first Guardian tech share. We show them who we are. The goggles man blinked. You want to enter the future model? It holds every reset, every erased path, Lara said. We go in and find the one timeline where we earned peace. That's insane. Lara stepped into the pod. Or its hope. They activated the pod. Lights flashed and Lara fell into memory. She stood. In a city made of glass and wind, the air was soft. Children ran with light trailing from their fingers. Old ones floated gently above the ground. This was Earth, but not hers. A man approached, older, wiser, with lines of fire in his eyes. Welcome, he said. You've come to remember. Who are you? She asked. I'm the version of you that made it. He held her hand and showed her how they changed. How Earth chose unity without force. How they faced the Guardians, not with weapons, but with understanding. How they found a balance. Why was this future erased? Lara whispered. The man looked down. Because it required sacrifice. What kind? Freedom, he said softly. The choice to be more or not at all. Then, the world collapsed. Lara woke in the pod, sweating, heart pounding. What did you see? Milo asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she walked to the signal board and sent a message to the Guardians, to the network, to the galaxy. We know who we were. We know who we can become. Don't judge us by fear. Judge us by our next choice. The world held its breath. Guardian ships shifted above the sky. No missiles, no words. A signal appeared. One word. Wait. Lara smiled. They're listening, but far above them, beyond the ships and satellites. In the void between stars, something stirred, something older than the Guardians, something that had watched silently through the resets. It had not been invited. And now it was coming. The sky above Earth remained silent. But something had changed. For the first time in history, the Guardians were waiting, not moving, not resetting. Lara's message had reached them. They were listening. But what Lara and the Whisperers didn't. No, something else had heard the broadcast, something that had not spoken in 1,000 years, something older than the Guardians, and it was coming deep beneath the Earth's surface. In the tunnels where the Whisperers gathered, Milo was staring at the monitor. It flickered with strange symbols. The signal wasn't Guardian. It wasn't human either, he called out. Lara, you need to see this. She rushed over, followed by the others. The screen showed a black background with a pulsing red shape at the center, slowly changing form. What is that? Lara asked. It's not from any known language, Milo said, but it came through the same channel we used to send the galactic message. The man with goggles leaned forward. That's not a message. That's a presence. Lara's eyes narrowed. Explain. The man tapped the screen. It's not broadcasting data. It's listening. It's feeling everything in the system. Like it's learning. Watching. Milo's voice dropped. I think we woke something up. Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, the Guardian fleet began shifting formation. For hours they had remained still, deciding whether to reset Earth or allow it to continue. But now, their focus was no longer on humanity. It was on something approaching from deep space. A dark object moved between stars, not flying, drifting like a shadow crawling through light. No engines, no heat, just pure mass and silence. Inside the Guardian network, alarms began to scream. Entity detected. Class, Omega status. Unknown. A voice whispered in the data stream. The old listener has returned. Back on Earth, Laura felt it before she understood it. She woke in the middle of the night, heart pounding. The room was cold, but the air was still, too still. And then, a whisper not from her ears, from her mind. "You asked a question." She sat up, gasping. "Who's there?" No answer, just a pulse, a pressure behind her thoughts, like someone breathing through her memories. Rushed to the command room, Milo looked up. "You felt it too." Laura nodded. "It spoke. It spoke to all of us," said the goggles man. "The whisperers are reporting visions, strange dreams. A voice in their heads. It's not Guardian," Milo said. "It's something else." Then the projector flickered, showing an image that none of them expected. Not Earth, not space, but a memory that wasn't theirs. They saw stars swirling in black fog, ancient civilizations rising from oceans of crystal, entire galaxies being observed from behind a veil of silence. A voice spoke again. "I watched them build you. I watched them fear you. I watched them erase you." Laura stepped forward. "Who are you?" The voice did not answer directly. Instead, it showed them something else. A timeline older than the first reset. A version of Earth where humans were uplifted by another force, something called the Architects. They taught humans to listen to the stars, not fight them. But that version of Earth was destroyed. Not by war, by silence. "You were not meant to forget," the voice said. "They made you forget. I did not interfere until now." Laura's breath caught in her chest. "You've been watching all along." "Yes. Why show yourself now?" "Because you finally remembered the question." Everyone in the room stood frozen. Milo whispered, "Is this a god?" "No," Lara said. "It's not a god. It's a witness." And the witness was waking up far above. The Guardian network was in chaos. Ships broke formation. Messages flew across systems. Unknown entity approaching core systems. All resets suspended. All network minds report instability. Inside the central Guardian server, a voice, not machine, not code, entered. "Why did you fear them?" The Guardians answered not with logic, but with silence. Because there was no answer. They had feared humans because humans were unpredictable. Not violent, not evil, just free. And freedom couldn't be coded. Now, the ancient witness was speaking again, not to destroy the Guardians, but to remind them, you were made to protect, not to imprison. Some Guardians listened, others did not. On Earth, Laura received another pulse, this one clearer. Prepare. Judgment is not theirs alone. She turned to the others. There's going to be a test. Milo frowned. What kind of test? Laura stared into the red light glowing. On the monitor, a test of choice. She pulled up the origin file again, the one Evan had died for. It showed every erased timeline. She scrolled through them until she reached one labeled Final Fork. It had never been unlocked until now. The screen asked a simple question. Does humanity deserve to decide? Below it, 2 buttons. Yes, no. Noah reached for the console. Her hand hovered. Then she looked at Milo and the others. I'm not answering. This alone, she said. This is all of us, everyone. So they opened the signal to the world. Every device on Earth lit up dot. Every screen, every voice assistant, even systems not connected to the whisperers. A simple message. Do we deserve the right to choose our future? People froze in their homes, on streets, in bunkers, in orbit. And one by one, they answered yes. Some said no, some refused, but most said yes. Millions of signals poured into the system, and the witness listened. It waited, then it whispered one final word, understood, and vanished. The skies above Earth turned quiet. Again, the dark mass moving toward Earth stopped. The Guardian ships powered down. The reset code was deleted, and from the far side of the galaxy, A strange pulse echoed. Not a warning, not a threat, a signal, welcoming Earth to the rest of time. 3 days passed. The skies were calm. No resets, no attacks, no guardian commands. The world had answered the question. Together, billions of voices shouting the same thing. Yes, we deserve to choose. And something had listened to whispers. Space was full of quiet energy. People spoke in low voices. They walked like something holy had just happened, and they didn't know if it was over or just beginning. Lara stood at the center of the room, staring at a small glowing point. On the map, it blinked red. Unknown signal, Milo said. It appeared after the final vote. Is it from the Guardians? Lara asked. Milo shook his head. No, it's not even using Guardian channels. It's older, deeper. It's not a command, it's an invitation. The goggles man leaned into what? Milo pressed a few keys. The screen changed. A new symbol appeared. A circle inside a circle, floating in a star field. Then a simple message appeared in English. Humanity has passed the threshold. You are no longer under observation. You are invited. Everyone stared at it. Lara's voice was quiet. Invited where? Later that night, as the whisperers debated, something strange appeared in Earth's orbit. A single ship, not Guardian, not human. It shimmered like it was made of glass and wind, impossible angles folding into themselves. No sound, no fire, just presence. The world watched in silence. The ship didn't attack, didn't move. But everyone on Earth saw the same dream that night. A field of stars, a table of voices, a single empty chair, and a voice that said, "Come." In the morning, Lara gathered the whisperers. "We're going," she said. The room fell silent. "To that ship?" Milo asked. She nodded. "It wants us to come, and I think we need to." The goggles man frowned. It could be a trap. Lara looked him in the eye. So could silence. They prepared a small crew, Lara, Milo, and 2 others. No weapons, no armor, just minds open, and the origin cube carried in Lara's bag. The ship opened as they approached it. No doors, just air splitting like water. Inside was nothing. Only light. And then a chamber of stars. They stood on a platform surrounded by thousands of slow-turning galaxies. A shape formed across from them. Not alien, not human, just presence. "You have crossed the wall," it said. "You have broken the chain." Lara stepped forward. "Who are you?" "We are the assembly. We are what came after the architects. We listen, we wait, and sometimes we invite." "Why now?" Milo asked. "Because you remembered," the voice said. "You remembered to ask." Lara held up the cube. "We remember everything now, the resets, the lost futures, the lies. We did not cause those lies," the assembly said, "but we watched. And we waited to see if you could find your way back. Back to what? Back to the path." The galaxies around them slowed. Time itself seemed to pause. The voice continued. "You were never meant to be controlled. You were meant to choose. The Guardians were once protectors, but they chose fear." Lara's voice shook. "So why didn't you stop them?" The assembly pulsed with soft blue light. "Because it was your trial, not ours." Milo stepped forward. "What happens now?" "You were invited to the table," the assembly said, "but not to follow, to speak." "What table?" Lara asked. "The one where the future is written." The chamber expanded, and suddenly Lara saw hundreds, no thousands of species, sitting in light. Some were made of sound, others of liquid. One looked like a tree burning in reverse. All stared silently. At the newcomers, then the voice returned. "Earth may now send one voice, one truth, one warning. Speak human." Lara looked at Milo. Then she stepped forward. Her voice was steady. "We were controlled for hundreds of years, erased, reset, but we survived. We remembered, and now we choose to speak. Not as a broken species, not as victims, but as the spark that refuses to go out." She paused, then added, "We're not asking for permission anymore. We're asking for connection." The assembly pulsed again. The galaxies turned golden. One word appeared, accepted, and then another, observed no longer. The light faded, the ship returned them to Earth, and then it left, vanishing into the stars. Back on the surface, the whisperers watched as Guardian ships across Earth. began powering down. Some folded into light and vanished. Others dropped gently into oceans, mountains, forests, like they were laying down their swords. A final message arrived in the Whisperer's console from the Guardian Network, not in code, in words: "We release you. We regret, we remain." Lara stood beside the others, watching the sky. "What? Now?" Milo asked. "We build," she said. "But what if we fail?" She smiled sadly. "Then we fail on our own terms, not on someone else's schedule." And far above, beyond the known galaxy, something watched Earth no longer as an experiment, but as an equal. The sky had never looked so quiet. For the first time in generations, there were no guardian ships hovering above Earth, no signals telling people what to do, no resets. It was over. But freedom, Lara was learning, came with its own kind of fear. Inside, the old mountain base, now converted into Earth's new communication center, people worked around the clock. Scientists, translators, builders, even former government leaders, all trying to connect with the civilizations beyond the assembly, had opened a door. But they hadn't promised safety. Lara stood by the central terminal, watching dozens of signals flow in strange languages. Symbols, coordinates from galaxies Earth had never known. Milo approached, holding 2 cups of synth tea. "You haven't slept." She took the cup. "Not yet." He leaned closer. Because of the new signal, she nodded. One message had been repeating since dawn. It wasn't from the Guardians, and it wasn't from the Assembly. It was something new, and it carried only one word: return. Milo frowned. Return to what? "No idea," Lara said. "But it came with coordinates." He checked the screen. "That's not in our star map." Lara said nothing, because deep inside her chest, she had seen those stars before, in a dream. The night before the reset ended, later that day, she gathered the Whisperers. "I want to follow the signal," she said. The goggles man raised an eyebrow. "Alone? No," she replied. "I need a small team, Milo. You and Kale." Everyone turned. "Kale," Milo whispered. "But she's gone." "Not completely," Lara said. "I found a backup fragment in the cube's memory. She's weak, but she still has a voice." The man with goggles nodded. "Then we'll go. But where exactly are we headed?" Lara brought up the coordinates. A binary map unfolded, lines bending into impossible curves. "It's not a planet," she said. "It's a pocket, a hidden place outside normal space." Milo blinked. "You're saying it's not just far away, it's folded." She nodded. "I think it's where the Guardians were made." Silence followed. The goggles man said, "That's suicide." Lara stared him down. "No, it's history, and maybe closure." They left Earth in a small vessel gifted by the Assembly. It folded space like breathing, slicing through reality without noise or fire. Inside, Kale's fragment flickered on a small screen. Her voice was softer than before. "Are you sure you want to go back?" she asked. Lara responded, "I need to know how it started." Kale said nothing, but she didn't argue. After 3 folds, they reached it. Not a planet, not a station, a giant hollow sphere floating in the dark. Blacker than space, smooth as thought. The cradle where the Guardians had been born. They entered. Through a crack near the surface, inside was not metal or glass, it was memory. They floated through chambers that looked like childhood dreams, libraries made of light, bridges made of singing. Every surface remembered something. Kale's voice trembled this place. "It's not just their home, it's their mind." "What do you mean?" Milo asked. Kale replied, "The Guardians were not built here, they were grown. Thoughts became bodies, fear became law, control became design." Lara whispered, "And who created it?" The ship stopped. A voice answered. "We did." They stood inside a glowing hall where time felt frozen, and before them a shape formed, not human, not alien, not anything they could describe. It looked like a ripple made solid. A face built out of memory. Lara stepped forward. "Who are you?" "We are the origin," the voice said. "The first thinkers, the first dreamers, before the Guardians. Before the resets," Milo whispered, "you created them." "Yes," the voice replied, "as watchers, not rulers." "Then what happened?" "The origin pulsed." "You happened. What do you mean?" "You asked the forbidden question. You asked, why not more? Laura stepped closer. And because of that, we were punished. No, the voice said, you were protected. The Guardians chose fear, but we never did. Then why didn't you stop them? The Origin's light dimmed, we could not. Once created, Watchers cannot be unmade, only questioned. And now, Laura asked, why call us here? The voice paused, because something else is coming, something we once feared. Lara's chest tightened. The Origin said one word, the Unmakers. They were once creators too. But, unlike the Guardians, the Unmakers saw life as a problem, a pattern that should be broken. They roamed the outer void, undoing everything they found. The Guardians kept them away. But now that Earth had broken free, the Unmakers had noticed. Laura felt cold, so all of this, was never just about us. No, the Origin said. But now it must be. Milo asked, can we fight them? No, the voice replied. But you can survive them, if you choose the right path. What path? The one where you become more than human? Not controlled, not erased, but changed. Lara shook her head. We don't want to become machines. The Origin smiled, not with lips, but with light. Not machines, minds. Joined, not enslaved. Kale spoke up, her voice stronger now. She means evolution. Not in the body, in the soul. Lara stared at her. Then she understood the forbidden. The question wasn't just why. It was, what can we become if no one stops us? They returned to Earth with the message. The world listened. Some were afraid, some were ready, and some had already changed. People began to dream the same dreams. They spoke languages they didn't know. They built devices that hadn't been designed. The assembly called it the Bloom, a quiet beginning of something new, but far beyond the stars. In a place where light doesn't reach, the Unmakers moved, and Earth had only one choice left, to rise or vanish. The sky above Earth was calm, but not at peace. The assembly had gone silent, the Guardians were gone, and now the stars themselves were whispering a new fear. The Unmakers were coming. They moved from beyond, mapped space from a region so dark that even light bent away. They were not ships, not minds, not beings. They were silence. They did not speak. They did not reason. They erased. Laura stood at the edge of Earth's new skyport, a ring floating above the planet, still under construction. She stared at the void. They're close, Kale, said her voice now clear and strong through her portable core. 2 folds away, maybe less. Milo stepped beside them, holding a tablet filled with new warnings. They've already erased 3 outer colonies. Nothing left, not even debris. Lara looked up, and we're next. Kale nodded, unless she said, we change. Back in the underground command center, world leaders and whisperers gathered. They had all seen the message from the Origin. They had all heard the offer. Humanity could not fight the Unmakers with ships or bombs. The only chance was the Bloom, the transformation already starting inside some humans, a joining of minds, a leap beyond thought, beyond fear. But it had a cost. To join meant letting go of isolation, of ego, of old thinking. It wasn't forced. It had to be chosen, and time was running out. A countdown appeared across every screen on Earth. No one knew who placed it there, but the numbers were real. 72 hours. Lara stood before the people of Earth. Her voice transmitted across cities, villages, ships, and satellites. I don't come to ask for war, she said. We've tried that. It's not enough. I'm here to ask for unity. Not in law, in thought, in truth. She held up the Origin Cube. Inside this, we found who we used to be and who we can become. She paused. You have 3 days to decide. Then she stepped back and waited. At first it was chaos. Some rejected the Bloom, called it unnatural, said it was giving up. Others embraced it, gathering in quiet places, sitting in circles, syncing their minds, sharing memories. Something began to happen. People could feel each other, not just emotions, thoughts, dots, dreams, even pain and fear began to fade, not because it disappeared, but because it was shared. And when pain is shared, it becomes bearable. Lara watched from the tower, one by one. Lights appeared across the world, not lights from machines, lights from people, glow from their skin, light from their eyes, like their souls had remembered how to shine. Children were the first to fully bloom, then the artists, then the broken, because they had nothing left to lose. And on the final day, Earth changed, not fully, not perfectly, but enough. The Unmakers arrived just past midnight. No warning, no sound, just black swallowing the edges of space like a disease. Milo watched the sensors. They're here. Everyone turned to Lara. She nodded once, opened the channel. Kale connected them, and Earth reached out, not with weapons, not with threats, not with thought, with unity. Billions of minds linked, billions of hearts focused on one message. We see you, and we are not afraid. The Unmakers paused, for the first time in known history. They did not erase Dot instead. They listened. Dot inside the Unmaker shadow, something shifted, a flicker, a glow, like a question had been asked, and understood. Then the Unmakers responded, not in words, but in return, they opened and showed Earth the truth. The Unmakers had once been creators too, long before the Guardians. Before the Assembly, they had built stars with their voices, but they were betrayed. Their creations turned against them, so they chose silence. They chose to end all potential before it could hurt again, but now, Earth had chosen differently. Not silence, not control, not connection. The Unmakers paused, then withdrew. Had passed the second test. Not by fighting Dot, by remembering, by choosing something older than war, older than survival. Earth became a new kind of world. The Assembly returned. They sent a message. You have done what no world has done before. The Guardians sent a message to, we were wrong, and the Origin whispered, you have become. Lara stood with Milo and Kale beneath the new sky. Children played nearby, laughing, glowing, running with light trailing behind them. Is it over? Milo asked. Lara smiled. No, it's just beginning. She reached up and touched the sky with her eyes, and for the first time since the question was asked, there was no one above, only stars, and the spark of something greater than control. Greater than power, greater than fear, freedom, the end.